So we're just gonna go ahead and get started. I will drop the link to the slide deck into the chat feature after the session is over, as well as the sign-in link. So all of the sessions that we offer during this time frame will give you recertification credits. So welcome to Schoology for administrators. We always start out our sessions by putting the e-learning website link on the slide, and then the teacher, or really like district password, is DCSD transforms. And so we try to upload videos and handouts, contents, any information that we have available to the site. I think we are a little behind on that. I know I am. So I feel like I've been like a video creation queen for the last couple of weeks. But the videos that we have available for today's session that we thought would be helpful for you are also in the presentation as well. So before we got started, we did want to make sure we just kind of reviewed, and we do know that everyone is not using the Google Drive assignments option, but if your teachers are, please make sure that they share that folder inside Google Drive.
Option here.
Make sure they share that folder in Google Drive to the ones who are listed on the screen here. And when you get the slide deck, that DCSD top 3 link, that link would like take you to the video if you need to see it again. And then we've also added the link to the how to do that in the slide as well. So here, like providing access to the Schoology Google Drive assignments folder in Google Drive, that video tutorial will be embedded inside the slide that you'll get at the end of the session. I did not mean to play that. Also, adding resource teachers as admins to regular education courses. That video is here, as well as on our e-learning website for core content teachers that work with students with disabilities. Adding that resource teacher as an admin to their courses has been extremely helpful in them being able to see what students are doing and how they can check up on them. So for today's session, we are going to talk about how to use the Schoology school page to keep stakeholders informed, how admin access enables you to complete virtual observations, looking at the Schoology analytics piece as a school and also in courses, and then also looking at the power of the looking at the power of the Schoology Gradebook. And we'll also share like how we can get parents engaged into their Schoology sessions as well. All right, so the first thing that we are going to talk about today is that Schoology school page. So you can use your Schoology school page to provide updates to stakeholders. It's a great way right now to spotlight great work for teachers and students. So like if you wanted to continue to do the, like if you're doing teacher feature, that would be a way to do that. Feature various people within your schools. So like today's Teacher Appreciation Week, and you may have time to like feature like various teachers throughout your school on that Schoology page. So let's just kind of take a look at what that looks like from your point of view. So we will spend some time actually in Schoology. I want you to kind of do some of the things that we're talking about. I think that helps you to be able to better understand how the tools work. So right now I'm in my Schoology page. If I look, and can you all see, do you all see my page? Okay, good.
Yes.
So if I click on like my name on the upper right hand side, Mine says Darlington County School District because that's my home school. You should see your home school right up under your profile. So if you click on that particular space, then you can see where, like, so this would be like district activity that would be posted. For you, if you see your school, I am going to click on, one of the middle schools, because like if you click on there, you'll see where, like when we did the surveys for students and parents and staff, we posted the student survey link on the Schoology page to be able to share with students, because 9 times out of 10 when they log in, this is the updates page is the first page that they see before they go to courses. So you each should have access to your school page, and you should be able to add posts here, files, links. If there's anything in your resource folder that you want to share, you can add that here. And here, polls, and then I must get back and go over to this microphone because this is one of my favorite features, because you have the option to add audio and video to your school page. So if you click on the microphone and select audio and video, I think about principals and assistant principals, well, anyone really has the option to like record a video and then share that with students. So I've seen in some places where administration are like posting to their Facebook pages, a morning message. You can also do this directly in Schoology. And so when students log in, that will be one of the first things that they see. So it's super simple. The record your video option comes up, and it will record everything that you say in a video format. Once you stop recording, then you have the option to insert it into your post and then click post. And so students will actually see that video. All right, the next thing that we are going to look at today is the admin access for virtual observations. So as school administrators, you have access to all your courses in Schoology without teachers having to make you an admin. So I think about like for our larger schools who have anywhere from 36 to 75 different courses, that would be a little daunting to see when you click on courses. But as under your admin access, you have those options. So if you would, then back in your Schoology course, click on courses. That's over in the left-hand side, my courses, and then on the far right, go down to the bottom and search by teacher. So for example, I'm going to click on courses here, and then over on the right-hand side, I'll select my courses. So what you see in the middle part here is any courses that you've created or that you are a member of. But what you want to do as an admin is look over in this manage courses option. And the easiest thing is just to search by the teacher's name. So I'm searching Ms. McFadden teaches at Darlington Middle. She's an 8th grade math teacher. And then here, all of her courses show up that I can access. So before I go any further, I want you to test that out with one of your teachers. And let me know if you're having any issues accessing that. So, and I did ask McFadden ahead of time. So everybody knows that my guinea pig for everything is Cameron, if she's in Miss McFadden's class. So here, once I click on that particular course that Cameron is in, I'm in Miss McFadden's course. And so she has here her e-learning assignments folder. And then I can click on, I'm gonna click on week 7. And of course she's got it broken down by day. So 8th grade, her e-learning day, math 28. So as an admin, if I click on McFadden e-learning day 28, I can see the lesson that she embedded for students to do. So like this is what she created for students. But I also have the option to see where students are in progress with their assignments. And I can also see which students have submitted. Now, even if your teachers aren't using Google Drive assignments, you should still be able to able to see their assignments in their work. And I'm going to show you another example of what that looks like if you have teachers who are not using Google Drive assignments. So Mr. N teaches at Hartsville Middle, and his wife teaches, I think, at St. John's Elementary. But the same thing, I can click on his classes. I know that he's not using the Google Drive assignments option, but I can see in his class, so what the lessons look like. Oh, we haven't gotten that far yet. So because I'm in admin, I can see differently from what students can see. But I also see the link like where he's added his Zoom e-learning lesson videos. So despite the fact that I'm not, like we're not in school, I can still, you can as a principal or assistant principal or CT or literacy coach, go in and look at the information that students are, the tasks and the assignments that students are having to do. So it allows you, and that's kind of what our directors are doing right now. They're going in and they're looking at the different aspects of the lessons, just to kind of see like what's some professional development, pulling some exemplars for teachers to be able to see of work, to give some ideas of like how I can provide direct instruction, what are some different ways I can add multimedia pieces into my lessons and all of that. So so you're not the admin in the course, but you do have like admin access where you can also see if the gradebook is set up, then and at a glance, and we'll talk about this a little bit more, but if that teacher has that gradebook set up, at a glance, that teacher can see, anytime you see this little blue paper mark, that means that a student has submitted the assignment. And he's already started adding grades and then also comments and feedback to the work that students have done. So as long as two things have to happen. As long as the correct category is used, and as long as there is a category used, and the due date is also going to be important for the other side, then students at a glance and the teacher at a glance and the parent at a glance can see what work has been submitted. So this is a very helpful way. So like, for example, for a student that hasn't submitted anything, that's a different conversation than a student who submitted probably most of the work and then may need some additional support on some of the other assignments. So was everybody able to go in as one of their teachers and look at information?
Yeah, Miss Jefferson, on mine it looks pretty good. I do have a question for you though.
Mm-hmm.
Is it possible to see the gradebook for one student across, let's say, 4 core classes? Or do you have to go into each individual course to see their gradebook?
Yeah, you'd have to, as a admin, you have to go into each of the 4 core classes to be able to see it all the way across.
Okay, because when I call parents, I pull up PowerSchool and I can see their grades or whatever. But if I'm speaking to them about exactly the specifics of things they're doing or not doing, I would have to go into each individual course to see what they're doing if their Schoology gradebook has even been set up.
That is correct.
Okay, just making sure there wasn't a more efficient way to work.
Yeah, it's easy. It's funny for students. It's super easy, and we'll take a look at that. But for admin right now, it's not. So that might be a feature that we just need to request.
Got it. Okay, cool.
All right, any other questions about just the admin access to be able to see into teachers' classrooms? Everybody good with that? I saw Ms. Hannigan, she is using her reactions. So if you look down at the bottom of your toolbar, you should see a reactions feature, and there is the option to do a thumbs up or an applause. So if you give me a thumbs up if everybody's good on that part.
I do have one more question. When I'm accessing teachers' lessons and some of the lessons said that I don't have access to it, so I'll have to email the teacher and say, can you give me access?
Right. So that is a part of the e-learning top 3 video that we shared, Ms. Elmore Rivers. So if it's telling you to request access, that means that they have not done those things that were asked of them in that video.
Okay. All right.
The other thing that I did want to share before we get off of this, so like, it also depends on how much support you individually provide. So like what we said was view only access, because we didn't want like a lot of people in, because there's a lot of people that you're giving access to that folder to. And so we didn't want to have to deal with like a lot of problems and issues because somebody accidentally clicked the wrong thing. But let teachers know that now the only way that they, like if they're having trouble, you probably will have to have editing access outside of, instead of view only access. So if you're someone on the staff that provides a lot of the tech support for your teachers, or support, like if parents call and something's going wrong, they may want to adjust your access to edit instead of the view option. All right, so the next thing that we're going to talk about is the Schoology Analytics, which is my new favorite best friend. So Schoology Analytics gives admins data on student usage, overall as a school, and then also overall as, even if you go into courses to look. And it also gives teachers some really good information and feedback too as well. So I'm going to go back into my Schoology course, and I'm going to click on tools. Does everybody have that tools option? And then you should be able to see usage analytics. So the analytics feature that is available right now is, it was updated at the beginning of this school year. So anything past August 1st, 2019 is not in here, although you should have access to historical data. So here, for me, I do have like a little more, a few more options than you do, where I can see it by the district. You should probably be able to see your school. And this information on this first page is fairly generic. Like and I can, like if I wanted to search for a certain school and see like how many students have accessed various sessions, the types of course materials that are being created, and the breakdown of that, like I said, is very generic. But if everybody will click on that system logs information, there you can see by student. So for me, I can see pretty much everybody when they've logged in. You should be able to see anybody in your school, and you can also search by user. So say for example, I'm a principal at assistant principal at Darlington Middle School. I'm Mr. Vantine, and all of the teachers of Cameron Jefferson has said that she says that she cannot log in. She can't access her content. If I click the search by user option and I start typing in Cameron's name and I find her name, it now gives me a breakdown of any time that she has logged in successfully or logged out in Schoology. Now, a few things that we are asking for them to update that they haven't done yet is hopefully within the next few days or so, and I will email you once that's done, where it says schools, there will also be a user tab that will allow you to pull that data easily. Now, truthfully, you can copy and paste everything and put it into like a Google Sheet. But we're waiting on them to approve our request to have the users access, and then it would just be a simple download into a CSV format for student access. So this is just like where you can see like if they were able to log in successfully the last time they logged in. So looking at that timestamp for someone that maybe hasn't logged in since before spring break or before we left for school, then, you know, that would be a different conversation than someone who has logged in, you know, recently. And it does take, I think it takes 24 hours to populate. So like, even though the student has been in today, it probably won't show up until tomorrow. So that is something that you have access to as an admin. But also as an admin in your courses, you have access to the same, like in your teacher's courses, you have access to that same information. So for example, if I go back to Ms. McFadden's classroom, and so this would also be something that she would have access to as the teacher. And I'm gonna click on that Section 8 option. Up under the members tab is the analytics tab, and that's what I want to click on. So inside each course, you as well as teachers have access to see the students' last access to Schoology, the last time they logged in, and then also the last time they accessed your course material. So in some cases, there were situations where students had logged in to Schoology, but they hadn't, like as of yesterday, but it had been a couple of weeks before they accessed like that particular teacher's course material. So no, if a student logs out, it should, let me see, let me go back and think about Cameron's data. For the app, for the course analytics, it will be up to date whether or not they use the app or not. For the system, no, it would have to be up to date because like Cameron logged in she doesn't log out of the app. So she would have been logged in and then also gone back in and done other work. So yeah, no, whether or not they're in the app, it would still be correct.
Ms. Jefferson, I see the school analytics. Can you just go over really quickly, how'd you go to the course analytics?
Okay, so as an admin, I would need to like select a specific teacher. So for example, if you had a teacher that came to you, Ms. Hennigan, so you say like Mrs. Bradley is saying she's having difficulty with the students completing the class, you got to go into that course. So if I go into one of her sections and then up under members, I'm going to select this analytics option. And that's going to give you your information for analytics. And you can also sort that information, meaning that if I can sort by the last current or the latest. So like this particular student hasn't been in since last Wednesday. This one has been in today. So you can sort. So if they're like, of course, the ones that haven't been in a later date, or it's been a while since they've been in, of course, those are the ones that you want to attack first. I'm going to go back just for me to be back in the course that Cameron has. So here, if I click on, I can see that like yesterday at 5:34, she was in her math course. But the last time she was in Schoology yesterday at 5:34 because we were working on band stuff, but she hadn't accessed the course since last Thursday for this particular class. But if I click on Cameron's name, I also have at a glance to see like what she has, all of the assignments that have been assigned to her, and what she has and has not submitted as a teacher. And then you have that same access as a principal.
And that, you mean any activity, correct? Not log in or log out. So if a student either opens an assignment or does something within Schoology, it'll update their status.
Right. So here, like if this, in this case, if I go back here, it's going to tell me the last time that student accessed Schoology, like logged in. Doesn't mean she did anything with it. The same thing here is going to tell me the last time she accessed any of the materials in my particular course. And it's not going to tell me specifically. But again, if I click on that child's name, then that's where I'm going to get like the last time they accessed this particular activity, when it was submitted, and how many times they submitted. So like you'll see here, these are assignments that Ms. McFadden already has ready, but she hasn't released yet because I don't know what they were on. I'm not gonna lie. So some of these, they're already in, but there's no submission because we're not quite at that point yet. So anything that's already been added is going to show up. But again, for students, especially middle school, probably more than elementary, when students say, I don't know what I need to make up right now, then this can be copied and pasted into a spreadsheet. And so like anything that's not submitted, then they could share that information with the students. It makes it at a glance a little easier. Any questions or thoughts about the analytics feature within Schoology? So that's the analytics piece in Schoology. And again, we are working with them to finish up updating our analytics so that we will have more information up under the school for the user tab, for you all to be able to pull and share. All right, so we're going to go back and talk a little bit about the Schoology Gradebook. And so like, of course, it is not mandatory. We do definitely recommend that the Gradebook is set up and the weights are done correctly, because then it helps parents, teachers, and students at a glance see where students are. So for example, if I go into a course, like a test course of mine, that I haven't set up a gradebook for. So if the gradebook is not set up, there aren't going to be any assignments that show up over here on the screen. Like at the very minimum, teachers would have to set their gradebook up with the classwork and the assessments category. If they had already previously set up their gradebook, and I'll go back and show you what that looks like in my test class, then they could just, the old categories that no longer fit for this quarter, they can just change to 0. So I definitely have to make sure that the gradebook is set up if I want to have that at a glance look. And in addition to that, when I create an assignment in Schoology, I need to make sure that I have a category attached to the particular assignment. So here, either classwork or assessments. If I select ungraded, it's not going to show up in the gradebook. So if I've got it set up in the gradebook as an assignment, then if I have that assignment set up with a category, then that's the only way that the assignments will populate in the Schoology gradebook. If not, nothing will be there. And then notice, and I shared like with Mr. N's and Mr. N's course, that if the student submitted something, then that icon, so this was a discussion post, and I can see that. So even if I haven't had a chance to go in and look at it, I can at least see that something has been submitted for that student. Same thing here. I can see like that something has been submitted, and then if there's a grade there, it shows up for me as the teacher, shows up for you as the admin, shows up for the student, and it also shows up for the parent. So, you know, initially we recommended that Schoology be like the first area for grades. So because it's easy access for review, revision, and feedback. So students, if they're using the Google Drive assignments, you can say, send them a comment through the slide and tag them and say, I need you to go back and review this, make the edits, and then resubmit. So one of the things that teachers do have to make sure that they do that if you're using Google Drive assignments, then you have to unsubmit the assignment. The teacher has to unsubmit it for the student to be able to make changes. Because once the student submits the assignment, the student no longer has editing access. They only have commenting access. So, and then that way they have everything, like once students have been given the opportunity to redo and fix, then the teacher can put that grade in Schoology and then do that Power Teacher Schoology sync so that the assignment and the grades are directly pushed over into the Power Teacher Pro gradebook. So in the slide deck, there are video resources for teachers and how to set up the document and how to look at that Schoology Power Teacher Pro sync, which we're going to look at in just a minute. And then also there are document links for those people who don't want to do the videos, how to set up the gradebook, and how to sync your Schoology with your Power Teacher Pro. And we're going to take a look at that right now. All right, so I am in Mr. N's Schoology course, Schoology account, and he has set up his gradebook, and he has grades that are, for the most part, that is past that 2-week window that he's ready to push over into Power Teacher Pro. So there are some steps that teachers have to use, and like if they click on the Power School icon in the bottom left-hand corner. Now, you will not be able to see that Power School icon if you log into a teacher's account unless you directly enroll yourself as the admin. But if the teacher is logged in, they can go in and they can see it. So in some cases, if there's an error, it says a category is required. And this is previous work that they had done before they left school, where he had not given the assignment a category so it would not sync. So I'm gonna go to his last page where his assignments are. So I look here, he's got a ready to begin writing activity that is ready to be synced. And so we do recommend that when teachers sync, they sync by assignment only instead of the entire gradebook, because they may have things in there that they are not ready to sync yet. So he's got a ready to begin writing activity sheet that has not yet been synced. In order to sync it, he just presses the sync option right here. And you can see that it has been successful. And so now when I go into his Power Teacher Pro gradebook for section 1, oops, I'll tell you what, because it's going to take me forever to figure out his credentials. I'm going to go in as an admin. I waited too late. I can see that the ready to begin activity sheet has now been pushed over. So the sync is like if teachers are setting up their Schoology gradebook exactly the way they have, like we've outlined, they can push that content directly over. Now, one of the things that we do recommend though is like a one-time sync. So like make sure you have just about everything that's ready in there, like you're ready for that, all of that to show up in the gradebook. Then you would go ahead and run the sync, and then it pushes directly over into Power Teacher Pro. Any questions about the Schoology Power Teacher Pro sync?
I do have one question. So, if you synced and you had to go back and change a grade, if you resync, would it make the correction over in Power School for you?
Yes, if you click sync changes, it will. And I think in this case, it's kind of figuring out what is like, when's the best time to do the sync for that particular assignment, you know, depending on where they are in like like how far along are we where it should have been completed. It's also helpful because now the good thing is that with the other quarters being locked down, at least there's no more issues where they can mess up a previous grade book. But I think the less number of times that you can sync is probably the best option. And then in some cases, they'll need to go back in and like, so for example, you cannot put an NHI in Schoology, so they would probably leave just that blank or select missing, which causes it to show up as a 0. And then when they go back into Power School, they're gonna have, they will have to type that NHI in.
So you suggest only do it for at the end, maybe after you have graded every student in that particular assignment. Can you do it? When I've been doing it, I've been going to the grade book, you know, the full class grade book, and there's a little sync button at the top, and I hit that. And what happens there, that syncs the whole grade book, right?
Right, it does. And like right now, the only problem with that, Ms. Elmore Rivers, is that in some cases, like it would have synced everything. So if you had done grades and you'd made changes to something in previous quarters, and that's what we're afraid of. So that's why we're saying kind of if you do it by the assignment versus that whole grade book sync, the less chance for error.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. And so then the other part about the Schoology Gradebook is I kind of want you to take a look at it as like what a student would see or what a parent would see. So for example, I'm in my Schoology account, but I also have a parent account that I set up that I was able to link. So the only thing is that if you are a district employee, you cannot use your work email address to use with the parent account. You have to use a personal account. So here in this case, if you can see my screen, can you see? Yeah. So if I click on, this is my personal account. Now, initially, and sometimes it causes confusion for parents in the beginning when they first get started, because they'll click on, like, they'll open it up and they'll click on courses and it'll say you're not currently enrolled in any courses. That's because, you know, these accounts do have the option to use Schoology as a learning management system as well, like maybe for other reasons. In this case, now that I've opened up my parent account, I see my 2 children. Ms. Davis has allowed me to also use Shervy as an example, just because Mayo has been using Schoology for a long time. But even now, so the parent creates one account, they get the access code, and then like, so for here, if I click on Cameron's name, and this is what I was talking about, Mr. Vantine, as far as the grade report. I can download a student report that gives a detailed report of grades and attendance. So students have that option. I'm not sure why we as admins and teachers don't have that option yet, but we'll continue to ask for that feature. But if when I first log in as her, I can see up under her account, I can see what all assignments that she has submitted in chronological order. If I go to courses and I want to see, like, say for example, band, as a, so she can see this as a student, and I can also see this as a parent. So if I look at the assignments that have been given to her in band, I can see anywhere there was an assignment, whether or not she submitted that assignment or not. I can see when she submitted it, the grade. If the teacher has begun grading it, then I can see the grade. And then I can also see any notes that the teacher has made to the particular assignment. And then the course grade down at the bottom. So this, like, you know, like whether or not you want to push grades over to Power Teacher Pro or not, I think this part helps students to see what they have and have not done. So like you can see, like a lot of these assignments, I went in as a parent and there was nothing there. So I knew those were all the things that she hadn't done that she needed to submit. And then I had to go back and say, all right, let's go back, grab the iPad, and let's look at those assignments and let's get them turned in. So this is like what parents see under parent access, but students also see the same thing up under the student access portion. So teachers have the option to provide their students with, or parents with, their access code directly in the course. One of the things that we are recommending is that if you go ahead and let like the homeroom teacher or the advisory teacher just pull for one group of students, like if I work on a team and there are 4 of us and we all teach the same 80 to 120 students, it really doesn't make sense for me to go into all 4 or 5 of my courses and download that code, because it's one code per child, and they keep that code throughout their duration of being in the, being in the Darlington County School District. So once a parent sets up that account one time, they don't have to set it up again. They don't have to put in a new access code, and that the student and that student's work and content follows them all throughout their time in the Darlington County School District. So in the course, teachers would click on members. On the right, there's a link for parent access codes, and those codes download as a CSV file. And then on this particular slide, I did put, like, this is really just for parents, how parents can set up their Schoology account and share that information with their, they can share this information with parents to help them to be able to set up their account. So that's also available in the slide deck. So again, if I'm in a course, and I need to, going back to my district account, and I click on members and parent access codes, it's going to download as a CSV file, meaning like it'll open up in Excel. And now I have the parent access code for anybody that was in that particular class. And I just share that information with the parent so that they can go ahead and set up their accounts. All right, so we are at the end of today's session. Are there any questions or comments that anyone would like to share about what we talked about today? Everybody's all right, so I'm going to unmute. Is everybody okay? Any questions? All right, is there anything anybody wants to look at again, or is everybody okay?
I want to look at something again after everybody logs on though.
Okay, sounds good. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and drop in the sign in. Oh, here's the slide deck for the session today.
Carl.
Uh-huh.
I'm on my iPad and I can't click on either one of them. Either one of the big ones.
Okay. Ms. James, what about you? Were you able to?
No, ma'am.
Okay, all right. I will, and I will email, I can email both of those. I can email both of those to you after the session is over, and see if we can figure out what's going on with iPad, if there's another option.
Please, because it wouldn't let me do it from my iPad. Thank you.
All right. So, you know, just a reminder, we do tell teachers every week at our, like Apple teachers, DCSD Apple teachers get an Apple Pencil. And that is also open to administrators as well if you haven't gotten yours yet. So if you complete your Apple Teacher certification, which is found at appleteacher.apple.com, it's 6 quizzes in the device that your students use. So if I am a K-8 administrator, I need to get my Apple Teacher and iPad. And there are no high school administrators with us today. So, and then after you've gotten your certification, you can work at your own pace. Then you complete the form, and we will make arrangements to get you that Apple Pencil. Just as a reminder, we still are offering our Lunch and Learn sessions for anybody who wants to join. This week for 3-8, the focus is using Edpuzzle for direct instruction. So the form is open for anybody who wants to register for Tuesday and Thursday. And I think I've got a couple of K-8 people in here. So the K2 session this week focuses on new learning opportunities in Seesaw. So if you go to bit.ly/DCSD Lunch and Learn, then that will give you access to the form. I hope today was beneficial. If there's something that you saw, like if you want anybody that wants to stay and look at something again, you're more than welcome to do that. If after the fact you go back in and you have more questions, feel free to email me. We can set up a session, or I can, you know, go through whatever it is that you need. Hope if you need me, just let me know. And everybody have a great afternoon.